Why Japanese people stop buying things and start building wealth. Picture a simple terracotta bowl. You pour water into it, slowly, carefully. The water rises, inch by inch. But just as it's about to reach the brim, the bottom of the bowl quietly expands. So you pour more, and the bottom expands again. No matter how much you pour, no matter how patient you are, the bowl never fills. This is exactly how modern desire operates inside your wallet. Every raise establishes a new baseline. Every luxury once experienced instantly morphs into the new normal. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Today, we aren't going to talk about complex investment formulas, stock charts, or crypto trends. Instead, we're looking at a centuries-old philosophy from Japan, a place where people build true wealth not by what they display to the world, but by the empty spaces they fiercely protect. The suffocating room. Let's take a step back in time to a cramped apartment in the hyper-neon heart of Tokyo. Meet Kenji. He's 37 years old, holds a corporate job, and pulls in a stable, comfortable salary that most would envy. From the outside, Kenji is winning at life. From the inside, he's suffocating in a prison of his own making. His apartment is choked with the debris of a youth spent consuming. High-end gadgets bought in flashes of excitement, now collecting dust. Designer clothes draped over furniture. Books he bought to feel smart but never opened. Every single object had an ironclad justification when he swiped his visa, but those justifications expired years ago. Every month, like clockwork, his phone pings with a direct deposit notification. But before Kenji can even feel the digital weight of that money, it vanishes. Not into anything meaningful, into the invisible. A new phone because his current one felt old. Subscriptions he forgot he owned. DoorDash orders placed late at night simply because he was too exhausted to cook. He is trading his life force at a grueling day job just to buy things that offer 3 minutes of dopamine and months of financial drag. One night, after a brutal shift, Kenji sits flat on his linoleum floor and looks around. He realizes a terrifying truth. He doesn't own his things own him. He wakes up every morning carrying an unnameable anxiety, not because his income is low, but because his lifestyle has become too heavy to manage. Too many things demanding attention, too many bills demanding cash, too many upgrades demanding desire. That night, Kenji does something radical. He starts throwing things away. It starts small, clothes he hasn't touched in a year, outdated electronics, bulky furniture that serves no purpose other than filling space. Item by item, week by week, and then a quiet miracle happens. As his room empties out, his mind clears up. His monthly overhead plummets, his savings account swells. The static noise in his head simply evaporates. He didn't get a promotion. He didn't launch a side hustle. He just stopped filling his life with things that cost money, but added zero meaning. He uncovers the ultimate secret of modern finance. You don't need to earn more to save more. You need to want less. And wanting less isn't a personality trait, it's a skill. A perishable skill that, once mastered, rewrites the entire trajectory of your life. The concept of the luxury of zero. In Japanese design and architecture, there is a foundational concept known as ban. It translates roughly to negative space, or the purity of the void. In a traditional Japanese room, what is absent is just as crucial as what is present. A solitary scroll hanging on a stark white wall, a single, flawless vase resting on a wooden ledge. That emptiness doesn't scream poverty, it whispers intention, calm, and absolute freedom. While Western culture is obsessed with conquering and filling every square inch of space, the Japanese protect their empty corners. And the sharpest financial minds on the planet have realized that your money works exactly the same way. A life maxed out on expenses has zero room for opportunity. If every single dollar, euro, or yen you earn is already spoken for before the month begins, you have no space for emergencies, no room for investment, and no margin for freedom. Consider two people with identical six-figure salaries. The first fills every corner of their income. The upgraded apartment, The luxury gym membership, the premium streaming tiers, the endless treat-yourself splurges. By day 30, their balance is zero. There is no ma. They live in a state of chronic, low-grade terror because they are always one bad corporate reorganization or one medical emergency away from total collapse. The second person deliberately chooses to live on a fraction of what they make, not because they can't afford more, but because they choose to protect the empty space in their budget. That empty space becomes capital. That capital becomes an investment portfolio. And those investments transform into options. The option to walk away from a toxic boss without panicking. The option to handle a crisis with total composure. The option to say no to things that drain their soul. Those options are what freedom actually looks like. And freedom is what Japanese minimalism builds, not just an empty room but an unshakable life. The trap of the new normal. Why are we so profoundly terrified of empty space in our bank accounts? Because we are locked in a cage with a psychological beast, hedonic adaptation. When you get that promotion, the universe feels bright. You move out of your studio apartment and into a sleek one-bedroom. You tell yourself you've earned it. But within 90 days, the floor-to-ceiling windows stop giving you goosebumps. They just become the walls you look at while eating breakfast. Suddenly, you find yourself browsing listings for a two-bedroom with a balcony. The bottom of the bowl just expanded. Every upgrade sets a new baseline. Every luxury once tasted hardens into a necessity. You can no longer downgrade without feeling like you are suffering. This is why the hamster wheel of debt doesn't care how much you make. It traps high earners just as easily as anyone else. Your income grows linearly, but your expectations grow exponentially. Japanese minimalism interrupts this madness. It doesn't ask you to live like a monk in a cave. It asks you to audit your impulses. The Japanese understand that most of what we call buying is actually just emotional self-medicating. We buy when we're bored, when we're stressed after a brutal day at the office, or when we scroll through Instagram and feel the quiet, toxic sting of FOMO. Those purchases aren't logical decisions, they are financial painkillers. But painkillers wear off, leaving you with a hangover on your credit card statement. When you see this cycle clearly, you stop funding it. That cash stays in your custody, compounding quietly in the background, until one day you realize you've built a fortress. Invisible wealth versus status performance. In Japan, there is a razor-sharp distinction between two kinds of people. Those who practice mai, the performance of looking rich, and those who are okonomochi, the reality of being wealthy. They are almost never the same person. The performers of wealth are the stage actors of our consumer culture. They drive the least European cars, wear the conspicuous logos, and brandish the newest flagship phones. They desperately need the world to validate their success. But maintaining that illusion requires burning their financial seed corn. Every dollar they pull in is instantly converted into depreciating status symbols. They don't own assets, they just own very expensive overhead. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy in Japan choose radical invisibility. You pass them every day on the subway. They wear clean, unbranded basics, drive sensible cars, and have zero desire to dominate the conversation at dinner parties. They don't pay for other people's opinions. They know that a compliment from an acquaintance lasts 5 seconds, but a debt obligation lasts for years. Their wealth is an underground river, invisible but incredibly powerful. It's a maxed-out emergency fund that absorbs catastrophes without a flinch. It's investments that print money while they sleep. It's the psychological sovereignty of knowing that no matter what happens to the economy, they will be completely fine. That confidence cannot be bought at a flagship store on Fifth Avenue. It can only be built one resisted impulse at a time. The 3 golden rules of financial Zen. Minimalism isn't a vague vibe, it's a daily practice executed with military consistency. To transition your life from status performance to invisible wealth, You need to implement 3 non-negotiable habits. Rule 1. The enough question. Before you tap your phone to pay or click place order on Amazon this week, force yourself to take one deep, deliberate breath. Ask yourself, is what I have at home already enough, or am I just hunting for a temporary escape? If the item you currently own still works, if it still fulfills its basic utility, then you already have enough. Recognizing enough is the ultimate superpower. It strips advertisers and algorithms of their power over your bank account. You begin buying for utility, never for therapy. Rule 2. The Invisible Wealth Audit. Take 15 minutes this weekend with a blank sheet of paper and a pen. Print out your bank statement from the last 30 days. Next to every single transaction, write one of 2 words, freedom or performance. Freedom, expenses are the raw essentials. Food that nourishes you, shelter that keeps you safe, tools that help you grow, and health. Performance. Expenses are things bought primarily so that the outside world perceives your life in a certain way. When you total the columns, prepare for a reality check. Most people discover that their financial stress isn't caused by a lack of income, but by the sheer weight of their performance column. Don't try to slash it to 0 overnight. Just pick one thing, one unused subscription, one expensive dining habit driven by social pressure, and kill it. Move that exact amount into an automated investment account. The dollar amount matters less than the rewiring of your brain. Rule 3. The one-in, one-out rule. This is the ultimate circuit breaker for lifestyle creep. The law is absolute. For any new physical item that enters your life, an old one must exit. If you buy a new jacket, an old one gets donated. If you sign up for a new streaming service, an old one gets cancelled. This rule creates an immediate psychological tax on consumption. Before you buy something new, you are forced to ask, is this shiny new thing worth destroying or parting with something I already own? When you stop the accumulation of physical and digital clutter, you plug the leaks in your net worth. The autonomy of the empty space. The truth that the Japanese discovered long before the rest of the world is beautifully simple. Freedom isn't something you buy. Freedom is what you have left when you stop spending. When you deliberately choose to live beneath your means while the rest of the world is running themselves ragged to expand their lifestyle, you aren't depriving yourself. You are constructing a concrete foundation that no economic storm can crack. The people flashiest with their money are often the most financially fragile, balancing on a tightrope of monthly payments. The people who look entirely ordinary are often sitting on a mountain of invisible security. Leave the theater of looking rich to the amateurs. Protect your empty space. Secure your peace.